Hi there, Logan here, professional barista for MajestyCoffee.com, and today I'm here to talk to you about a really exciting topic. What's the major difference between a cheap and expensive espresso machine? Let's get started. Alright, so let's get into it. First, let's discuss what constitutes a cheap or an expensive espresso machine. Obviously, this answer is entirely relative and up to the person who's buying the machine. It could be a $30 machine or a $30,000 machine. There's really quite a range when it comes to espresso machines. Now, that being said, there are a few qualifications that a machine should have in order to be an actual espresso machine versus a machine that is just making coffee. Let's talk about those major differences. The first element we're going to talk about is the heating element of an espresso machine. Most commercial espresso machines have multiple boilers of varying sizes that allow water to be heated quickly and efficiently. These boilers are generally quite large, so you won't be running out of hot water or steam during a rush. On the tier just below commercial, something that's more common in home machines or smaller volume cafe machines is going to be your heat exchange boiler. This has a lower price point than the commercial dual or multiple boiler system and is actually quite efficient as well. The heat exchange system uses one boiler and just cycles water through the boiler to heat it as it goes to your brew group head, so you can steam and brew at the same time. The tier just below this will have just one boiler, so you can only brew or steam at one time. Below that, there are a range of different options that companies will use to make heating elements in espresso machines, though at these price points, they're not so much espresso machines as they are coffee makers that use a little bit more pressure. Some of them will even use pressurized baskets in the portafilter to supply that extra pressure. So while I'm not saying you can't get some relatively good coffee with these cheaper machines, it will be significantly different than the large commercial boilers you see in cafes, and the results will definitely show the difference. So next, let's talk about the pump element of an espresso machine. Pumps are what are going to deliver your water and your pressure within the espresso machine. A professional machine will go up to 9 bars of pressure, and some other machines will even go higher. This is going to be a major difference between a $100 espresso machine and your more well-known home and commercial espresso machines. You will not see anywhere near the same amount of pressure with a $100 machine that you will with a $1,000+ machine. So there are two different types of pumps found within the higher end espresso machines. Most common in the home ones is going to be your vibratory pump. These are pretty efficient, though they are a little bit on the louder side, though they can still deliver a lot of pressure and come in a compact size. The other type of machine is going to be a rotary pump, more common in commercial espresso machines. The benefit of having a rotary pump is usually your machine is directly plumbed in and you're able to fine-tune your pre-infusion a bit better, as well as it should be a bit quieter. So while both of these pumps do a pretty excellent job, if you're going for a higher volume cafe, you'd want to go with a rotary pump. Another major difference between cheap and expensive machines is going to be the build quality, with cheap machines generally being assembled in a gigantic factory made of mostly plastic parts and potentially things that will break very soon after buying them, whereas higher end machines will use a lot better materials such as stainless steel or harder metals and generally be assembled by hand. A lot of high-end machines will also be quality tested before being sent out so you can ensure you're going to get the best possible machine. You can also generally get a good warranty on your machine so you won't have to worry about things breaking down the line and being out of luck. Another key difference between a cheap and expensive machine is going to be your steam pressure. Some of the machines at lower price points that I've used, while they do produce some sort of steam, it generally isn't enough to actually create significant microfoam, and more often than not, it's not something that's entirely too pleasant to drink, though to each their own, and some do enjoy using their cheaper espresso machines. No judgment there. If it's within your budget and it gets the job done, by all means, have at it. When we're looking at machines from $1,000 and up, The thing you're going to see a great improvement on is that steam pressure. It will take significantly less time to steam and you'll be able to create very good microfoam. A lot of people just getting into espresso want to be able to create latte art, and while it's fun and takes a lot of practice, it definitely requires a good machine as well. So that's something that you're only going to see if you're spending on the upwards of $1,000 or more. For me personally, having a heat exchange, dual, or multiple boiler system is really the way to go because you can brew and steam at the same time, which ends up being a really good feature if you're ever trying to make multiple drinks back to back to back in a short period of time. So let's recap those major differences. One is going to be the boilers. Generally, you want enough boilers of a significant size in order to deliver the outcome required for your specific needs. Some people are fine with one boiler. Many other people enjoy the dual boiler system where you can brew and steam at the same time. And then most businesses will need to go with commercial boiler systems of multiple boilers of a very larger size. Next, we talked about pump systems that supply the water and pressure for your machine. Most people are going to be looking at either a vibratory or rotary pump, with vibratory generally being the less expensive option, though a bit louder, with rotary pumps being on the higher end of your price range, though they will be a little bit quieter and generally more powerful, with the ability to control your pre-infusion better. We then talked about the build quality of the machine, and to some people this is a major selling point, and to other people it's really not a big deal to sacrifice some better build quality for some cheaper plastic parts. The good thing is when you do spend a little bit more money, you generally get some sort of quality testing and perhaps even a warranty to ensure your machine will function as it was intended to. Lastly, I talked about that steaming pressure, which for me is quite important, and on lower end machines you really won't get much steaming pressure at all. On higher end ones you can steam a drink within seconds. The other benefit being you can steam back to back to back without your boiler experiencing too much duress. So there you have it. There are a few of the differences between a cheap espresso machine and an expensive espresso machine. If you have any more questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. After that, head on over to majestycoffee.com because we have some of the best espresso machines in the industry. Our customer support team is standing by via live chat or phone to help you make the right decision. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time.